Hi, welcome to the show, everybody. How we doing over here on this fine Monday evening? Listen, we had the preseason game over the weekend. The Philadelphia Eagles played the Browns, and there are some takeaways that I think were important from the game. Obviously, we were going to talk about Andrew Mukuba, who looked pretty damn good out there with a nice pick six and the fumble recovery. That was solid. Jihaad Campbell, once again, looked like a stud. Looked pretty damn good out there, making plays all over the field. And then just some issues at cornerback, which I think, we all kind of had an idea going into this game this was going to be a problem. And nothing has changed the mindset of Eagle fans or even the organization at the moment, right? So we're going to talk about some of the positives here. Andrew Mukuba, like I said, when on the field, he looked like just a very, very capable safety out there. Has a nose for the ball, a little bit on the smaller side, did look small. I thought he was a nickel corner for a second, but it was Drew Mukuba. And again, I don't think it's necessarily a problem that he is a smaller player. I just think durability is going to play a factor, especially when he is such a ball hawk. He is such a player that does have a nose for the ball. If you're going to be sticking your helmet in people's chests, you're going to have to be able to take that contact and be able to survive the whole season. The question now becomes with Andrew Mukuba, if he's able to survive the whole season, do we have a starting safety? It seems to be the case because the way he looked against the Browns, albeit in a preseason game against Dylan Gabriel and this Kevin Stefanski offense, he just looked like a guy that was comfortable and competent out there. And when you could do that and you could be a playmaker and be disciplined in your assignment, you're going to get a lot of playing time and a lot of trust from this, not only Eagles organization, but Vic Fangio, and be able to be put you in a good spot to make plays, right? And then Jihaad Campbell, same thing, just continues to show why he was worth that first round pick, how it was silly that he ended up slipping in the draft, albeit injury concerns in college, and that's what made his stock drop. But what a steal for the Philadelphia Eagles. Just another player that's versatile, athletic, high energy, and just seems to be a guy that just knows how to play football. And same with Small Munden, another guy from Georgia, later round pick. I think he got him in like the 5th or 6th round. He's just a guy that's been seeing a lot of field time for the Philadelphia Eagles. And quite frankly, this is the most depth at linebacker that I have seen for the Philadelphia Eagles. So that's a really nice sign. Even though we lost on the preseason game, the records don't matter in the preseason, right? You need to figure out whether or not a kid can play or whether somebody is bad at football. And for the most part, I think most of the players that Philadelphia has their eyes on show that they can play good football. Which brings me to the bad side of things, which is the cornerback room, and we'll dive into that in just a moment. But before we do that, you know what it is. This is the Riding the Bench Eagles podcast. I am your host, Asif Badi, and like you, I am a Birds fan who talks about the Birds, only the Birds, and nothing but the Philadelphia Eagles. So please do us a favor here. Help us grow this channel organically by shooting this video a thumbs up and commenting your thoughts in the comment section below. Be part of the discussion. Also, check us out on audio platforms such as Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and leave a 5-star review, because in the end, it doesn't cost you a damn thing to do any of those things. I'm not going to ask for money. All I'm going to ask you to do is hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel. Help me grow. So we appreciate your support on the opposite side of the camera, on the opposite side of the airwaves. Let's talk about this cornerback room for a second, ladies and gentlemen, because that is probably my biggest takeaway that I took from the weekend. Keele Ringo, Jakorian Bennet, Adore Jackson, they just look like They look and that, to me, that's almost an indictment on Keele Ringo, because as much as I love his athleticism, I loved his talent coming out of college, and the fact that Philadelphia got him in the 3rd round, the fact that he hasn't separated himself from the pack yet with Adore Jackson, again, a veteran player who's been there, done that in the league, albeit has traveled to a bunch of different teams. And then Jakorian Bennet, who we just acquired not too long ago. Geez, I am not going to slip by the fact that my voice just screeched like a freaking car hitting the brakes. Hold on a moment. Oh, geez, high quality H2O was needed. Anywho, I digress. Jakorian Bennet being acquired only a few days ago, and he looked just as good as Adore Jackson and Keele Ringo on the football field. to me, that's a very bad sign. Now, it could be a good thing that Jakorian Bennet just came in and was able to pick up where these guys are at right now with an off season and all that stuff. But again, I don't feel comfortable necessarily going into the year with a guy like Bennett as our starting corner, or Adore Jackson, or right now even Keele Ringo as our starting corner, because it just seems like not that they're bad players. That's not what I'm trying to get at here. I'm just saying they haven't done anything to showcase why they are the clear-cut starter at cornerback. And again, we're going to talk about this a little bit more, but now we heard reports today, because this is Monday after all, Cooper DeJean was taking some reps at outside corner, and we'll kind of look at some of the comments that Vic Fangio was talking about before, because I think this has been the course of action for some time now. And I think Philadelphia has just been kind of waiting to see whether or not Keele Ringo, Adore Jackson, and Jakorian Bennet can separate themselves, and they just haven't. So I think they've kind of resorted to the fact that, hey, we got a bunch of linebackers out on the field. We have Cooper DeJean in the slot. Let's just move him outside for some reps. Let's see how he does, because quite frankly, it can't be worse than what we're seeing. That's just me inferring. This is not a quote from Philadelphia or anybody within the organization. But with that, let's listen to some of the Vic Fangio comments. Now, it's going to be a few clips, 3 separate clips, as a matter of fact, about Cooper DeJean, because there are different times in this press conference. But let's just look at the clip. We'll hear what Vic Fangio has to say, and then I'll give you my thoughts on it after he is done spewing what he's talking about in regards to Cooper DeJean. On that note, let us begin.
2nd and 11.
You mentioned at the beginning of camp that we'd see Cooper DeJean an outside cornerback. We have not seen that yet. Why is that?
I watched today's practice.
Is it coming?
He'll be out there a little bit.
Is he competition on the outside as well?
What's that?
Part of the competition.
He is. Yes, he is.
How is Jakorian done as far as picking things up in these 2 weeks?
Good. I think it's been good.
So that was the first comment. Let's go over to the second comment, which is a little bit later in the video, right about here. So let's hear his thoughts.
Following up on Jeff's question, do you see a possibility where Cooper could play on the outside and someone else in the slot this season?
Not at this time.
So the guy asked him, is there a chance where Cooper plays on the outside and someone else plays at the nickel? And he says, not at this time. More on that in just a moment. And then let's hear the last thoughts that Vic has in regards to Cooper DeJean and corner.
Settle him down too a little bit, hopefully.
Follow up on Cooper DeJean. You say not
Start over.
Not at this time with Cooper on the outside. What would it require to seriously consider him at full-time outside corner?
Someone to develop at the nickel position, and someone not to develop at the corner position. And we haven't seen Cooper play any corner either, other than NC2A ball. So there's a lot of unknowns there to be answered yet.
How do you feel Aziz is coming along?
Right. So that was Vic Fangio on the prospect of having Cooper DeJean play on the outside. Now, this is something that a lot of Eagle fans have been wondering for some time, and a lot of pundits who talk about the Philadelphia Eagles have been wondering for some time. If you have a player like Andrew Mukuba who looks to be solid, who looks like if he's healthy, he's probably going to be your starting safety. So let's just assume we go into the year, safety, not a concern anymore, okay? At least to the point where we have 2 clear-cut starters in Reed and Mukuba. Now what do we do at cornerback 2? Because we mentioned before, Keele hasn't separated himself. Bennett just got here. And Adore Jackson, again, maybe will probably be a cut at some point, but he hasn't separated himself either. He may be the veteran presence, and they just say, hey, you know what? You get the start because you're a veteran. You've been in the league. Nobody else on the team has separated themselves. We're not going to cut Keele Ringo because of a special teams aspect. So we're going to put you there and see what you can do. Maybe you could pick it up. But the fact that they are now resorting to Cooper DeJean playing outside or getting some reps out there, and also suggesting that, hey, not only he might be our second best cornerback on the outside, but he obviously is going to play nickel and will continue to play nickel, also just shows like, hey, one, the cornerback room is a problem, but two, maybe they have a lot more faith in the linebacker room than maybe we initially thought. Now, we talked about it before. This is the most depth that we have had at linebacker in my time as a Philadelphia Eagle fan. I mean, we have Zach Bond, who got back on the practice field. You obviously have Jihaad Campbell, who has been playing very well. Trotter, another quality player who just always seems to be in the right spot, and nobody has said that he looks lost out there. Munden, the draft pick that we got, has continued to impress in camp, played well in preseason games. Just when he gets reps out there, he looks good. He's athletic. Vic really likes him, apparently. And then, obviously, Nakobe Dean, when he's healthy, and again, this may not be something that's going to happen for another few weeks, not until maybe like week 8 or 10 or whatever it is. But when he's out there and he's healthy, he's another starter for us who contributed to the number 1 defense last year. So this is the most depth at linebacker that we have had in Philadelphia. And maybe, just maybe, because of that, Vic is thinking, hey, we could sacrifice Cooper at nickel at times, put him outside, and then add an extra linebacker out there on the field and have a little bit more of a traditional defensive look and give me a little bit more options on what to do with guys who have to come off the edge. So maybe Zach Bond and Jihaad Campbell can come out on the edge as the rotational pieces for the lack of players in the edge room. So a little bit more versatility than maybe Vic was thinking he would have going into the year. Now, again, this is just me being an Eagles fan trying to put a positive spin on this thing. I think he would really like to have a guy like Azeez Ojulari or Josh Uche kind of stand out in the edge room so that you can kind of spell Hunt and Nolan Smith. But nonetheless, this is where we're at right now, and maybe this is a better position than we were just a few days ago to kind of say, hey, you know what? We have an idea of what this base defense may look like. We got guys who we trust out there on every level, and maybe the linebacker room being so solid might force us to put Cooper outside and add more players on the second level. So, again, what will this mean for us going forward? I'm not sure. We can elaborate on that in another episode. But to me, I think Philadelphia is in a better spot on defense, despite the fact that we don't have a true answer at cornerback 2 than what we had just a few days ago. So in that sense, pretty positive, happy camper over here. And the only thing that we can do now is just wait and see what this defense is going to look like going forward as the season continues on. Hey, thank you so much for watching the Riding the Bench Eagles podcast. If you want to continue to support the channel, please hit the like and subscribe button down below. Also, check us out on Instagram and TikTok at Riding the Bench Eagles Pod. We're also on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, you name it, we're on there. Thank you so much for listening, and please join us next time here at the Riding the Bench Eagles podcast.